How's it going? I have my good friend here, Marvin Dutton. How you doing, Marvin? Khaleef Alexander.
Marvin Dutton.
Khaleef Alexander and Marvin Dutton here. This is politically incorrect.
Yeah.
And,
Wait, incorrect?
politically incorrect.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, we have to be correct, of course, but we have to be a little.
Man, we can be incorrect for that.
Yeah, just a little incorrect because we have to let people understand that sometimes being incorrect can also mean being right.
Yeah.
And when you're being right and while you're being incorrect, it may be, I like to call it tunnel vision, but people may be able to see it through different lenses.
Absolutely. You know, you don't always have to follow the status quo.
That's a fact.
It's important, you know, the MES way, it's important to be yourself.
Yeah, and if I followed the status quo, you know, you may not know. I may have not been doing what I'm doing now.
Absolutely.
So I want to start the show off by saying, first of all, we gotta let the people know how we know each other, and just give that little intro.
Yeah, well, in my previous life, I used to be an educator and a teacher. I moved on to become an entrepreneur and very politically active in the city of Philadelphia. And I met Khaleef when he was a student at St. Khaleef Charter School, but throughout his career, he's continued to matriculate through the system as an advocate, as a budding entrepreneur, and as a voice for his generation. So, you know, we're kind of growing together at this point, I believe.
I appreciate those wise words too. You know, you're definitely one of my favorite mentors. I learned a lot of things from you, especially with working with you last year.
Yeah,
we gotta talk about that too.
Yeah.
Just give a little background information on yourself. Just growing up in Philly.
Yeah, we can talk about my background. I don't talk about it much on camera, but yeah, I'm originally from Frankfurt.
Okay.
In my childhood, I grew in my early childhood was in Kensington.
Okay.
I was born there, Episcopal Hospital on Lehigh Avenue, right next to Sankofa, actually. I lived on Hope Street, right on near York and Dolphin L stop.
Right.
And it was during the middle of the crack era.
Okay.
And you know, I learned a lot about struggle. I learned a lot through struggle, and moved to Frankfurt. You know, experienced a lot, but was able to use my education to become a teacher, and then use the lessons that I learned through my professional career to expand into the person that I am today, which is MES Marvin.
That's cool, man. And speaking of MES Marvin, and some of those services that you provide, can you let the people know, you know, exactly what MES is?
Yeah. So, you know, now MES is a logo. It's a motto.
Okay.
Maximizing every second. But our organization is Marvin's Education Services, and that's what we started. It was my first business, in which I started in 2013. It's probably what I'm most known for. Okay. But now I've transitioned to owning some more businesses, which include co-owner of Majestic Beauty, co-owner. I'm not a founder, but I'm a co-owner of Majestic Beauty, and I have some other business initiatives. Of course, working closely with Only Day Day to advise her on her career as well. So just working in the music industry, learning the music industry, learning how to build a beauty salon is right there on Winco Tower Apartments. You go and get your nails done. You can go and get your lashes done.
Let the people know.
And we
gotta start.
and so MES, we started off as Marvin's Education Services, and of course with that it's all about giving back to the community. You know, it's all about. So we started off with the school readiness program. We had after school programs. Then we did tutoring. We're still doing tutoring for the community. We have our AAU basketball program, which is MES basketball, and you'll be seeing a lot more from some of our. Hopefully, I can invite some of our players onto the podcast at some point. And we're doing the educational staffing, which includes providing people with opportunities with jobs as substitute teachers, as well as full-time teachers. And Khaleef actually.
I was doing that with Marvin. He actually, when I came home from school, I was looking for a job. So any people out there that are coming home from school looking for a job, he's the man to speak with. Also, can you let them know on that aspect, do they need a bachelor's degree?
Yeah, we really look for folks that have the bachelor's degrees. Okay. We are able to employ teacher assistants as well. And so I have a dedicated team in Center City, Philadelphia, Pipeline, Philly, where our office is. And they are always recruiting. So you can always call us at 267-575-3547. Of course, Khaleef is going to leave information for that. MEShiringteam@gmail.com. You call them, they'll be able to find a place of employment for you. and really use that as a stepping stone, right? Because that's just one of my businesses, and that's just a stepping stone. So you use that so you can transition into the education field or into the entrepreneur field, or if you want to go into government. We've had people that have now become politicians, teachers, you name it. And so MES is a good platform where you can learn and where you can build.
Yeah, MES is definitely dope. I was when I was at MES, actually was substituting at a school, and one of the ladies there, she actually came from MES and was hired full time at one of the schools that I was working at. I won't say the school's name on camera, of course, because I don't give free promotion to everybody. But yeah, she did her thing, and she told me, Marvin's a great guy. I told her like, yeah, I know Marvin since I was a kid, and great guy. So we talked about the background, we talked about the different businesses that you work with, and the different things that you're moving forward with. I want to talk about so this was something I was speaking with a good friend of mine recently about, and it was basically about the growth of African Americans in this country. And one of the things that I wanted to get really dive in deep with is from the civil rights era to the Black Power era, and then you have that like bleak moment, whereas though I feel like just from my observation and from the different things that I've studied and learned over the years, there was a bleak moment of just not too much economic growth, not too much development, and a lot of trauma experienced things that were going on. And one of the things that I've been noticing now, especially since I'm a millennial, so I feel like millennials are a millennial too. People from our generation, we have a different viewpoint of, I guess, what society can be like. We're trying to move upward, opposed to we're trying to learn as much as possible. We're trying to learn as much as possible, and like I said, see through those different arenas to be able to better advance our people, honestly. So could you maybe give me
I just think it's a generation. I think it's an era that nobody wants to talk about because it's an embarrassing era.
Yeah.
It's similar to what's going on right now with the opioid crisis,
Right.
and in terms of addiction. It was the crack era, and so me, in the middle of the '80s, I was front and center in the poorest neighborhood in Philadelphia, which is Kensington. I was front and center in the middle of the crack era, and my parents and all of my family members, they didn't know that crack cocaine was such a deadly drug. They didn't have an idea. There was no research out, so it was casual to them. So I could walk into the living room and see my family members just smoking it as if it was like marijuana, and they just didn't know. And obviously that devastated families, and my family structure was totally destroyed at the time. And a lot of people, they look back at the '60s, but and that's our parents' era.
Right.
We need to look back at the '80s, take a look at what happened, and see what negatives came out of it, and also see what positives came out of it as well. I don't think you have a person like myself if I didn't experience that, if I didn't come from, I hate to be cliche and say come from the streets, but come from that era,
Right.
And so if I didn't come from that era, I wouldn't have, the ability to deal with life's challenges, deal with life's obstacles, because I've experienced the worst. And so when you talk about the drug addiction, when you talk about the violence, some of that stuff is, of course, still going on. You know what I mean? So we need to address it. We have to talk about it. We can go and look at history from a deeper level because, I didn't talk about this much. I put it on my social media. My family's from Dorchester County, which is also Cambridge County. That's the same county of Harriet Tubman.
Okay.
Now, when you go back and you look at, you study the census, you see in 1860s they're admitting that African Americans were slaves.
Right.
In 1860, on the census you'll see it right as that slave. In 1870 they're like, okay, the emancipation occurred.
Right.
On a federal level, but still in Dorchester there was some back and forth about how they was going to respect the emancipation. So you see that my family, where at the time it was in the 1870s, it was John Dutton, and he was on that plantation technically as a worker, but to me, I looked at it funny because he was there as an employee, but he was there with his wife, He was there also with his kids,
Right.
who happened to be adult children.
Okay.
And so my question was like, why is he living with adult children? And it's, 1870. I hope I'm getting it right. Now, if we study my family history, we'll see that my family didn't leave that plantation until about the 1930s.
Okay.
And so I can go back as far as 1801. 1801 is my latest ancestor. You have Sylvia Dutton.
Okay.
Sylvia Dutton had Charles and Adeline Dutton, right? Charles and Adeline. Adeline Dutton was Adeline Cornish,
Okay.
right? The Cornish family, John Cornish. You ever see the picture with Harriet Tubman when she has the gun, and it's the two. There's a family behind them that's holding a baby. That's John Cornish and his wife. So that's a part of the Cornish family. That when he left, that's known as the Cambridge 28. The Cambridge 28 is one of the most famous escapes from Harriet Tubman. She went back and she got the Cornish family.
All research
And
too.
she went and she got Marshall Dutton,
Okay.
right? That's my great uncle. She went back and got Marshall Dutton. So then you have so then you have Charles Dutton, and that's when you have John Sr., and then you have John Jr., who's my great grandfather, who had my grandmom. So by analyzing history, and I'm still learning myself, I realized that my family was stuck on that plantation system, that pseudo-slavery system, all the way up to the 1930s.
Right.
My great grandfather wouldn't leave. He would leave to Delaware after impregnating my great grandmother. He would move up to Delaware, and as